Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pasta Jardula here.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Johnny Samosa on the ones and twos this morning. How you doing? I'm sorry, I gotta laugh. Somebody said, I don't think it's funny when you are annoying to Fiorella. However, I don't see it happen too often, so there shouldn't be a problem. I'm like, if you only knew. She walks around with aggravation from Pasta Jardula.
You guys would too if you were his roommate and his host and his co-host and yeah.
And what else?
Fam.
And your fam. And our fam. We have fam shares coming soon. Speaking of, we have a nice thing coming up on Tuesday. If you don't know, Tuesday is the start, the opening of the doors of the end of the world. It's scheduled for that day. I think the Mayans or the Aztecs.
We've long started on that track, Pasta. It's been a long time coming.
Well, it's kind of scary, though, fam. It really is scary because, I was on Graham Elwood's show last night, unexpectedly. He just Pasta, I'll send you the link. And I'm sitting there in the kitchen having a beer, prepping for today's dinner. We're having a nice protein bowl with beautiful quinoa, sun-dried tomatoes, and some cucumbers, and some lentils, and some plantains, and some mushrooms, and some black kale, and some spinach. It's going to be beautiful. You can't wait for you to have it tonight, fam. But while I was prepping for that, Big Kale that Graham signed to, I jumped on his show. And it was really kind of interesting because we were having a good time, but I just watched Whitney Webb's special on what she thinks is going to happen on Election Day. If you haven't gone over to the Rokfin and watch it, she has the first special up. She talks about what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, I think we're pretty up to date and spot on what's going on in our elections in this group right over here.
Yeah.
She's talking beyond the pale. She's talking deeper down the rabbit hole. 9/11 type of events that maybe the elites are going to try to take advantage of. And a lot of things happen right now that make me think, oh my God, the whole Hunter Biden situation, what they keep putting out all this stuff. If Trump loses the election, those Trumpers, those hardcore, they're not going to accept it. And they're going to go to the streets because first of all, if he loses, I believe it's fixed. I really do. I'm sorry, fam. I see zero enthusiasm
I agree
for
with
this
you,
guy.
100%.
I mean, and not to say that he's worse than Donald Trump and stuff, is that Donald Trump has got the enthusiasm of his supporters.
Right.
Who's really supporting Joe Biden?
Yeah.
By default.
Exactly. I just said the other day, and I just showed them a meme. How did this guy not win? You have a stadium. Bernie Sanders was filling stadiums bigger than Donald Trump ever did. And Donald Trump had a lot of people, right? The only thing that could beat Donald Trump would be the equivalent of that on the other side, the equivalent populist, left-wing populist movement momentum. And that's just not what happened. So Joe Biden, people are voting for him. Fine, Biden. Okay, I don't like it. I'm gonna vote for him. The reason people are voting for him, they're using shame. They're shaming people. They're doing all these things. That's not momentum. That's not a lot of support. That doesn't win elections.
Yeah.
What Donald Trump has is exactly that. He has people who are excited to vote for him, who are out there and ready to do whatever, stand in line however long it takes. And Joe Biden just doesn't have that. So you're not going to convince me he's going to win, no matter how many polls tell you that Joe Biden's going to win. Florida, for instance, Arizona, Texas. I just don't believe that Joe Biden has the support to counteract what Donald Trump has. But
even in the Rust Belt too.
Yeah, in the Rust Belt.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, and exactly. But the mainstream media is painting this picture that he does. So that's really interesting to me, especially with everything going on.
Reese Mack says, imagine this, Jesse Ventura wins the election on write-in votes. We talked about that on Graham's show. Now listen, he's on the ballot in Alaska. If he can win Alaska, or if he can get a lot of votes throughout the country, he's got about 6 states he's a write-in candidate on. Just make some noise, whatnot, pull away some votes here and there. Let the people know. But once again, I don't even know what's going to happen after this. This whole coronavirus lockdown situation, the vaccine coming, the martial laws, the censorship, whatnot. It's like one big giant meteor of all this crap ready to hit the United States directly on, and it's going to spread to everywhere around the country. Who knows what's going to happen? I am really just nervous. And the reason we're going to talk about today, one of the other things, is the censorship, fam. The censorship is just driving me crazy. When I watched that Senate hearing the other day, it scared the bejesus out of me. The Democrats are there's some of them that are socialists. Most of them are just corporatists, but they believe in this kind of censorship, authoritarian ways. They're already saying that they're only going to allow trusted sources.
Wait a minute. Who is a socialist right now in Congress? None of them are socialists.
None of them whatsoever.
I just want to say, I'm
but
sorry.
I'm saying the followers, the Bernie Sanders people who are socialists, whatnot, they are allowing the
they're like
elitists,
democratic socialists,
the democratic
mostly.
Socialists. They're allowing the censorship to come along. They're allowing this authoritarian mentality because they play on their feelings and their emotions and like, we have to take this down. And you're like, yeah, that's right. We should take that down. Alex Jones is mean and we shouldn't listen to him.
Yeah.
But when you cross that bridge, you're opening up a can of shitworms, fam, and so many things could happen. By the way, there's 132 people watching on the YouTubes. Please like, share, subscribe. But there's only 36 thumbs up and there's already 2 thumbs down. Early trolls, fam. Early trolls.
Unbelievable.
How do you give a thumbs down to the Convo Couch when we cover all these great things? Up on the Rokfin, there's about 5 of you, Tom.
Is the Rokfin working today?
The problem is that one of them is going to win. Yes, unfortunately, Tom, it is. The Rokfin's working, ROKFIN. Go on over there, fix it on up, hang on out with us over there, too, as well.
The problem is people need to realize that one of them winning isn't going to change things as much as everything else that's happening around that. So, okay. The COVID thing, though, fam, really quick, like,
go ahead.
It's just really weird to me. Like, everything's shutting down again in France and England. Like, they say that the numbers are up, but it's like, I'm becoming really suspect of, I'm not saying COVID isn't real. I think COVID is definitely very real. I just think that there are people that are exploiting this
very much
for a certain reason. I don't think like this is like a natural occurrence that's just happening. And I see that here things are already screwed from the last time we shut down. We've had $1,200. That's it. Like, they're not giving you anything else, and then they're threatening to shut down again. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, this is not okay.
Yeah. Mandated mask across the board. When Joe Biden gets in there, everything's going to close down. No, I mean, you're going to be dependent on the government completely because they've just shut down commerce. They've shut down business. They're not opening up. They're not helping it, but they're kicking all the money up to the big corporations.
Right.
The trillions of dollars have been given up to the top once again, which is going to be the biggest death sentence for everyday people out there.
Right.
I know I'm getting scared over here as we come around the corner. Like, what are we going to do as far as the rent's concerned and everything with the living and my job and whatnot? Are they going to open back up? You know, we're already getting censored left and right by YouTube. They're giving us strikes, so they're trying to not let us make money on this end. You know, I start questioning what is money now at this point. Is the American dollar going to be worth something? We were talking about on Graham last night. Buy a couple things of Bitcoin. Buy some Ethereum. Have some money tucked away. God forbid something shuts down and our dollar falls and we can't bomb our way out of this problem anymore, because that's the truth. As an empire, we can't bomb our way out of these problems no more. We can't bomb China and Russia back anymore. It's not going to happen. Back in World War II, the end of the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, or the kind of mid part of it and stuff, it's a different situation now. We split the atom, which means we can blow up this planet about 27 times over again easily. So just like Putin said, World War III might be fought in a certain way, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Putin didn't say that.
He repeated it.
Pasta. That was Einstein.
Einstein said it. Putin repeated it last year. Putin did repeat it last year.
Now this is a Russian asset right here. Jesus Christ.
Johnny Dolphin in the house.
Giving Putin credit for what Albert freaking Einstein said.
He said it the other day. But listen, the reason why I kind of quoted him, because he's a man with a finger on the trigger.
Him.
He's a man who has a finger on the trigger. We cannot forget that. He can press the button, and they have the second most nuclear weapons in this world behind us. So we have to avoid that at all costs. That was kind of funny, because the thing back in the day was, you know, your number one job, foreign policy-wise, as a president, is to keep us out of war with Russia. Right now, we have one side, the Democrats, who, despite being proven wrong, classified documents, all the proof in the world to show it was a Fugazi story, are still pushing this narrative.
Because it's not about the truth. It's about their agenda and their brainwashing and their propaganda.
And people are buying it. I remember
but not as many as before, which is a good thing.
Well, they're still out there. The main ones are still out there. The Congress is still there. They still said it the other day. I remember some activists in a chat that were saying, we need to learn how to talk about Russia when it's brought up. And I was just like, I went off. I removed myself from the thread. Done with that whole situation. That was a long time ago. Fam, a long time ago, was calling people out on this bullshit. It's still going on.
It's fucking 3 years. Over 3 years.
Just ridiculous. And our Congress, all the Democrats are still using it and talking about it and still saying there was interference in 2016. Oh my God, there'll be interference again, which everybody knows. They changed the votes by memes, way of memes, the Bernie Sanders Jesus meme with the thing. No.
If Russians are the Democratic Party, then yes, there was interference in 2016 and in 2020.
North American Ape, thank you for the super chat contribution. Says, now you have the Intercept playing defense for Biden. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What lefties still believe we're going to benefit from a Biden win.
Right. Think of it. Look what they're fucking doing right now.
They're getting crushed already.
Look what they're doing right now, all to protect Biden.
What
the Intercept has been
in?
compromised since 2017, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing started coming out in 2017. But I'm just saying, like, look at how far this co-option has gone. Look how they've co-opted the entire Bernie Sanders movement. Literally the entire Bernie Sanders movement. You got AOC, you got the Squad, you got all those people like Josh Fox, you got all those TYT people, you got all the Dem sucks, you got all these Bernie people making calls for Biden, doing all the shit for Biden. You got Bernie, and we're going to talk about it, Kamala Harris. This is disgusting. I am just so disgusted, but I can't say I'm surprised, because if you try to reform the rotten Democratic Party, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get rotten too. There's no reforming this party. It has to die. It has to be destroyed. That is the only way we're going to be able to ever fight against anything more evil than it. It's in our way.
Yeah. Holly Horn, Fred Edward, and Tom hanging over on the Rokfin. Thank you very much. We got 7 or 8 people over there. Let's keep going. Go over to the Rokfin, ROKFIM on your FM dial. Sign up, subscribe. And if you got a few extra dollars, fam, send us $9.99 a month, and you get all the premium content, advertisement free across the board.
They probably won't do any of that because of you.
Okay, let's get to it. We have over 265 people. We don't like to start now on YouTube until we get 300 people. But we'll start right now. Just kidding. All right, listen. There was a movie called The Lady Killers back in the days. It was with Tom Hanks. It was a Coen Brothers movie. Same guy who wrote The Big Lebowski and all these other movies. And there was this one scene, and they went to the Waffle Hut. That was like their sacred place where they would go.
The Waffle House?
Waffle Hut. Oh. It was the Waffle Hut. Wait, maybe it was the Waffle House.
Yeah, because that's a real place. And
I don't know if they called it the Waffle Hut or the Waffle House and stuff, but I think it was, whatever the case may be, they went there to plan. And it was a sacred place. Nobody was allowed to come outside the group. And one day, J.K. Rowling's character brought his girlfriend. Her name was Mountain Girl. And not Marlon Wayans, the other younger Wayans, couldn't believe it. He was like, he brought his bitch to the Waffle Hut. And it was like this big thing. So anytime when we would have anything that would just be, oh my God. And I was saying yesterday, I was like, the Intercept censored Glenn Greenwald. The Intercept. Now listen, we know it was going downhill, fam. Yeah. The Ryan Grimms went out, but Glenn Greenwald always had a voice. He created this channel. Okay, this network along with Jeremy Scahill for this reason, that he would never get censored by people within the government or attached to the government, so they can say what they want to say. This all came out of the Snowden revelations. So the fact that they censored Glenn Greenwald, The Intercept, the paper he started, the network he started, fam, it blows my mind away. And this 5 days out from an election, this is crazy.
It doesn't blow my mind away because of how corrupt they were. This was a long time coming. We even talked about it. But at the same time, it is really sad to see the place where we thought that at one point, they did really good work. But again, like they were still peddling establishment narratives, and it's really sad because the censorship war has begun, and either you are on one side of it or you're on the other. There's really no middle ground here to be on when it comes to censorship. There is no excuse to censor people, even if you disagree with them, even if they're wrong, even if they're lying. Censoring people is never a good thing. Yeah. So,
and this network was built on his accomplishments, on Glenn Greenwald's accomplishment. That's crazy. Mark Peterson says, "What? The mainstream media lies?" LOL. Thank you for a good show. Thank you, Mark Peterson, for that super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. And here's another unfortunate thing, fam, is that when you want to go on the mainstream media nowadays to talk truth, to talk against the deep state, to talk against the intelligence community, to talk against the establishment, you have to go on Fox News and Tucker Carlson, because mainstream media. Why didn't Chris Hayes pick up the phone and say, "Glenn, why don't you come on the show today?" You think that's going to happen?
No.
Hell no. So let's roll the tape over here, because he pretty much lays everything out on the only mainstream media network you can go on if you're a true leftist, Fox. Sickening.
About that question. Greenwald is a traditional leftist. He's committed above all to forcing transparency on people who hold power. Years ago, Greenwald co-founded a news site called The Intercept. Today, he resigned. In a statement, Greenwald explained why. Quote, "The Intercept's editors, in violation of my contractual right of editorial freedom, censored an article I wrote this week, refusing to publish it unless I removed all sections critical of Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden, the candidate vehemently supported by all New York-based Intercept editors involved in this effort at suppression." And he went on. Greenwald's full statement is up tonight at an internet platform called Substack, which is not yet censored. No matter who you plan to vote for next week, we recommend that you read it. Glenn Greenwald joins us tonight. Glenn, thanks so much for coming on. The idea of you resigning from a news organization you helped found is stunning. Tell us why you did.
Well, the news organization that I co-created was in 2013 at the height of the Snowden reporting. I left The Guardian to do it because I was seeing that there were a lot of constraints imposed on journalism and our ability to report freely against governments, against power centers, against all kinds of institutions that wield authority. And the premise of the news outlet, the core overarching premise, the reason it was created was to ensure that journalists would always have complete journalistic independence and editorial freedom, never have to pull punches journalistically or pay homage to pieties because of the preferences, the partisan or ideological preferences of editors or of anybody else. That was the core founding idea and vision. And then that is what makes it so amazing that at the very outlet that I co-created, that was built on my reputation, my credibility, my journalistic accomplishments, then tried to intervene to censor me 6 days before an election because I wanted to publish reporting and analysis about the evidence that raises serious questions about the conduct of the candidate that all of the editors at that outlet vehemently and enthusiastically support.
I would imagine that some of our viewers don't read The Intercept. You live outside our country, which is one of the reasons I think you say what you think is true. Tell us what this portends for the future here in the United States.
So The Intercept was actually, for a while, a unique publication, and I think the vision I just described is one reason, but another was that it was intended, above all else, to be highly skeptical of the claims of intelligence agencies. At the time when we were doing the reporting, the attacks were coming from the NSA, the CIA, the deep state against me, against my source Edward Snowden, and against the reporting. And we knew they were lying constantly and disseminating propaganda in a very powerful way. So we set out to say, we're going to investigate them. We're going to be skeptical of them. We're going to subject their assertions to critical scrutiny. And I am so embarrassed and angered that the media outlet that I created, along with two other excellent journalists, to do that, the only article it published about all of these documents that have emerged about Joe Biden, other than a column of mine where I denounced Facebook and Twitter for censoring it, was an article that made reference in passing to those documents very snidely and dismissively to say that no one should pay attention to it because it was Russian disinformation, and it cited a letter from John Brennan, James Clapper, Mike Hayden, and the rest of the goons from the CIA and the intelligence community asserting it. And worse still, that letter said, we have no evidence that Russia's involved in any of this. The Intercept omitted that phrase, simply cited that letter to try and encourage people to ignore this evidence on the grounds that Russia had manufactured it and that the evidence was fabricated, even though there's never been any evidence for that's been true. And everything since has disproven it, showing Russia was not involved in any of this, and nobody, certainly not even Joe Biden, disputes that these emails and other text messages are completely real and authentic.
That's horrifying. So what you're watching is agencies of the U.S. government turning their awesome and unconstrained powers against the American population.
This is the real story of the last 4 years of the Trump administration, which is that for a long time on the left, there was a healthy skepticism of the CIA.
Yes, there was.
There was a lot of anti-war activism in the Bush and Cheney years. That has all disappeared. And the reason it's disappeared is because the CIA, from the very first days of the Trump administration, even before he was inaugurated, devoted themselves to sabotaging the administration because Donald Trump questioned just a few of their pieties. And that can't be done in Washington. Whoever does that must be destroyed. And so the CIA and the deep state operatives became heroes heroes of the liberal left, the people who support the Democratic Party. They're now in a full union with the neocons, the Bush-Cheney operatives, the CIA, Silicon Valley, and Wall Street. That is the union of power, along with mainstream media outlets that are fully behind the Democratic Party, which is likely to at least take over one branch of government, if not all of them, in the coming election. And that is a very alarming proposition because they're authoritarian, they believe in censorship, and they believe in suppression of information that exposes them in any kind of a critical light.
For a U.S. government agency to try and disseminate propaganda within the United States, I mean, is there any clearer attack on democracy than that?
So when we were doing the Snowden reporting, one of the things that induced Edward Snowden to come forward as someone who had worked in the CIA and the NSA was his anger and horror that the tools of the NSA had been turned on the American people. They're supposed to spy on foreign adversary governments, but they weren't. They were collecting our phone records. Same with the CIA. They're trained disinformation agents. That's what they do. They lie for a living. But they're supposed to do that in other countries where we want to induce some sort of change, overthrow a government, topple a regime, whatever quote-unquote interference the U.S. government wants to do, the way we're also upset that Russia did in 2016. That's what they're trained to do. The law, though, and the obvious foundational prohibition on having a security state, a national security state after World War II, was it was never supposed to be turned domestically. They weren't supposed to be involved in our politics or disseminating propaganda. Go turn on any of those other cable networks or pick up the op-ed page of any of the biggest newspapers, and all you'll see are ex-members of the CIA, the DOJ, the FBI, the NSA, telling Americans what they ought to believe. They've infiltrated the means of communication domestically. They do it through leaks. They do it through clandestine operations and through lies. They propagandize the American people in a way that is incredibly dangerous no matter what your ideology is.
I totally agree, and I'm ashamed of the times that I made apologies for those agencies or this behavior. I really am. You are telling the truth. That's really clear. Glenn Greenwald, congratulations on getting out of there. Good to see you.
I apologize for those agencies. I used to kiss their ass. And fam, do you want to start with this right now? Because that was...
Yeah, no, we got to start.
That was powerful. Go ahead. Your comments on that right now, because Operation Mockingbird, fam, the CIA, the deep states, they infiltrate the mainstream media. They've done it, and they've got it going on. He told all the connections, Silicon Valley, Wall Street, whatnot, the mainstream media. They're out there waving a flag for Joe Biden.
Yeah, I mean, that is a big story. I 100% agree with Glenn Greenwald. That is a big, big story, is the fact that ever since Donald Trump took over, the Democratic establishment, full, not of just Democrats, but also Republican neocons, have been absolutely going after him because he hasn't been as easily controlled as the previous presidents. That's what it comes down to. Donald Trump isn't a saint. He's terrible in a lot of ways, but at the very least, he's also questioned them in ways that's made them uncomfortable. So that's why they've been continuously on the whole Russiagate thing, trying to say he was working with Putin to rig the elections. And it's just, even when he brings up Russiagate, there's this anger about it that I understand. It's like, I am getting called a Russian asset today in 2020 all the time now because I'm not voting for Joe Biden, and it's been 3 years of nothing. 3 years, and then a whole debunking, a whole declassification of these documents, and they're still acting like this is a thing. Obviously, it's less people, but it's still enough. Put it in the propaganda machine enough to get people to say it like it's real. If you say it enough times, these people start repeating the
lie
same shit.
Becomes real. And calm down, Nikita. You are getting crazy over here. Putin will be mad. Vladimir will get mad that you'll get upset.
That's why Putin and I, we got together and we started making jokes and memes because, I mean, this is ridiculous. At this point, I just have to make it ridicule it because it's that disgusting. And he talks about the connections too. And this is, again, yet another thing that we saw on Twitter, Facebook, Google, YouTube. These people on this board, these people that are in charge of the Intercept, have direct connections to Joe Biden. They are all supportive of him. All of them, every single one of them. Do not tell me that that's not going to affect how they do their reporting, especially if they are censoring. I would say if they're not censoring, sure, your individual bias is your individual bias. We all have one. But if you start censoring journalists from doing what they're supposed to do, which is talking about the story, because Glenn Greenwald isn't doing a story on it, and very few people are talking about the Biden Hunter Biden, Burisma, the laptop, etc. Very few people are talking about it because not everybody has access to all of this firsthand account information.
Yeah.
But the people that do are right-wing outlets. So now it's like, even if as a leftist I start using these outlets, we're like, oh, but it's just the Gateway Pundit, which I can't stand what's her face anyway. But they have these outlets. They're talking about these things. They're the only outlets talking about it. Yeah. Why does the right have to be the only ones talking about it?
It's crazy. And I think it would really be really powerful if Li Fang makes a move before the election, says, I'm walking too, and gets the hell out of there. Go get the guacamole from Quald Orleans. Thank you for almost 500 people watching on the YouTubes. We need more people on the Rokfin, Rokfin. Now, fam, inside what you were talking about, these people with connections to what's going on. And we have, I think a lot of our audience has probably seen that one video where all the news channels get on the same page. It's almost like Silicon Valley is all on the same page. They all said we're going to suppress the Hunter Biden story from the New York Post. It's like they have an email or a phone call. So in Matt Taibbi's article in Substack, where Glenn Greenwald is at right now, you can go join Glenn Greenwald for $5 a month and help him out. The money goes right to him, no longer going through a corporation. But Matt Taibbi also put down what the editors and the reasons they gave, and I think it's kind of important to pay attention to. So I want to read about this one article, this one part of the article in Matt Taibbi's article, when Glenn Greenwald, who also put up these emails as well on Substack, he put up his article, Matt Taibbi's reason for the resignation, and the emails going back and forth about what's going on. So let's just read this right here. He writes the article, he writes a little one, he kind of puts it out there, and then the editors get a hold of it. So here are the two editors kind of teaming up on him, and listen what they're talking about, fam, because this is so intriguing, and it gives you insight to the way they're kind of going out and combating this in the mainstream media as far as the Hunter Biden and the Joe Biden situation. Betsy agrees with me that the draft's core problem is the connection it often asserts or assumes between the Hunter Biden emails and the corruption of Joe Biden. Now, let me make this clear right now. Donald Trump is not going after Hunter Biden because he wants to go after Hunter Biden to hurt Joe Biden. He's going after Hunter Biden because there's a connection. He says it very much in his language. Hunter Biden was like a vacuum, and he gave it to who? The big guy. We know who the big guy is, you know what I'm saying? So he's trying to make that assertion that Joe Biden used Hunter Biden to rape and pillage these countries and their money and give them favors, and now he's very much compromised by doing so. There are many places in which the explicit or implied person is A, the emails expose corruption by Joe Biden, and B, news organizations are suppressing their reporting on it, which was the big issue. Those positions strike me as a foundation to this draft, and they also strike me as inaccurate.
One thing I disagree with is that Donald Trump isn't doing this to connect everything to Joe Biden. I mean, obviously, it's election time. It benefits him greatly if he connects it to Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So
well, I was saying he wasn't going after Hunter Biden to just go after Hunter Biden. He was going after Hunter Biden as a connection to the corruption in which Joe Biden used Hunter Biden. So it wasn't like just why not go after his wife? Why not have to go after Joe Biden's brother? He was going after Hunter because Hunter showed a straight connection to the corruption that was going on, sucking out money that eventually went.
You're saying Trump or Glenn?
Trump.
Okay.
Trump. Well, I mean, anybody who's going after Hunter Biden right now, they're connecting it to Joe Biden.
Well,
you know
Trump is going after Hunter Biden. Everybody else is just reporting on what's going on.
Yeah.
That's a completely different thing. But yeah, go ahead.
Mass added that he didn't believe Greenwald had done enough to address the complexity of the disinformation issue. Fam, what does this mean, really? I mean, what are they asserting, the deep state? That two Russians were sitting together? Let's have plan. Let's give disinformation. Let's make up story that Hunter Biden is smoking crack and pedophilia, and then we'll put it out there, and Republicans and Democrats will fight. This is good disinformation.
Yeah, that's what the Russians do all day.
That's what they're implying.
Well, disinformation it's just literally in the last couple months has been a term that they've decided to throw out now. Instead of calling it Russia interference and blah, 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 now they're saying, oh, this year it's disinformation from the Russians that are working and colluding with Donald Trump to do this right before the election. I mean, why is this coming out right before the election? This has been out for a while. It's just like Donald Trump didn't really hop on it, and these outlets didn't really have all the information until now because it's targeted like that. It's an election. Of course they're going to use it to their own benefit. That doesn't mean it's not true. Yeah. That doesn't mean that there's no fire under there.
But it seems just like a pecking order from the CIA. put out disinformation, and everybody got on the whole bandwagon. Let's throw out the word disinformation out there, and we'll really, sum it up.
We should wait to read them until we're done with the section.
I'm not reading that real quick. I'm just having them up so they don't lose them. Lastly, I think the disinformation issue should be handled with greater complexity. So here are the editors trying to push it like, hey, talk about the complexity of the disinformation. Push the disinformation. I think it's totally right to the point.
Editors who like and support Joe Biden.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But the argument that some people make about disinformation, and I think that you should address, is the way the materials are being used by Giuliani, the right-wing media, and Trump to support an exaggerated and false narrative, a narrative that is not supported by the materials themselves. This is a complete lie. And it's the same thing. Let's kill the messenger. They're putting out Russian disinformation, fam. And people will buy it. This is how stupid they think you are, ladies and gentlemen. This is how stupid they think you are. You can click that top one over there. Let's talk about the little fight. Now, I mean, that just laid out everything right there. What the editors are trying to do, what Glenn went through. He had to go on Tucker. Isn't it a shame, fam, that he has to go on Tucker?
Yeah, and he's getting attacked by that. So we'll talk about that later.
But it's so stupid because it's the only place he can go.
I know, but people don't get that. So.
All right, so this one here, here's Chris Hayes and Glenn Greenwald going at it. So Chris Hayes puts up a tweet: if Hitchens had been lived, he'd be making $1 million a year on Substack, writing exclusively about woke mobs and why the U.S. must go to war with China. So here he is. He's right there. He's poking fun at the fact that Glenn Greenwald went over to Substack. He goes, that's about 1/5 of what you're making, Chris. He tells him, because Chris is making about $5 billion a year, not from individuals, but from a huge corporation, for giggling every night in reference for Amy Klobuchar and Adam Schiff. So in comparison, it seems a bit more noble. Substack being that you make direct donations right to the people themselves rather than the corporation taking in corporate money and then putting it out there to pay you with. Then it got really interesting. You were mentioning, too, as well, with Chris Hayes and Aaron Matei and whatchamacallit, Glenn Greenwald all jumping in. Chris Hayes puts LOL. It's the next one right there. If you click on it, Johnny. Aaron Matei said, what are you laughing at? The idea that a journalist could actually have some integrity, courage, and commitment to the standards of their profession rather than personal profit? And then Glenn Greenwald put, do you think Chris, while he's giggling, will let them hold all the journalism awards he's won for his intrepid, brave, and important investigations? If I'm not mistaken, the FBI paid him a visit after one very hard-hitting interview with Amy Klobuchar. That's the stuff he's made of. So they kind of went back and forth on it, fam, right there.
Well, Chris Hayes is a hack and a propagandist, so, I mean, he has no leg to stand on.
And, Johnny, put that last, if you go right below it, if you just show the replies right there, Aaron Matei put this up. Yes, and don't forget that he's also the one who helped us alert us that Trump may have been a Russian intelligent asset since 1987. There he is with Jonathan Chait, this donkey. If you can put that picture up, Johnny, just there he is once again, like he had him on, and this guy literally said that it's a chance that Donald Trump is a Russian agent since 1987. This is the shit they're peddling, ladies and gentlemen. If you believe
propaganda,
this stuff,
you guys.
Wow,
it's propaganda.
Wow. So I just really, to tell you the truth, I have Glenn's article up that forced him to resign. I was just going to read the reason why he put it up here. I'm not going to go into the article. It's a long article, but I can tell you this much, fam. He doesn't really necessarily go after Joe Biden.
No.
He does the Glenn Greenwald thing where he questions everything. Well, maybe you should be looking at this. Maybe you should be looking at that.
But you should have the capacity to do that. You should have the ability to do that. That is journalism. That doesn't mean he's taking a stance one way or the other. He's simply reporting on it, which is what he's supposed to fucking do.
Yeah. And pretty much right here, he just says, I'm posting the most recent article about Joe and Hunter Biden, the last one seen by the Intercept editors before telling me that they refused to publish it, absent major structural changes involving the removal of all sections critical of Joe Biden, leaving only a narrow article critiquing media outlets. I will also, in a separate post, publish all the communications I had with the Intercept editors surrounding this article so you can see the censorship in action. And given the Intercept's denials, decide for yourselves. And he pretty much just goes on to talk about the claims why he, what they wanted to remove, what we showed you, what they were talking about, kind of putting up the whole disinformation, the complexity of it. Try to make the complexity of a shit sandwich look good, fam, is what they're trying to say. Right. And he put it out the way he had it. He would normally say he would make corrections, typos, that kind of things, kind of trim it down. But he put it out as is, fam, because he wanted you to see what the Intercept is saying, what the editors said no on. So yes, that is there as well. So go ahead and take a look at it. Now, inside the article, fam, I thought it was kind of interesting since we're talking about all this kind of censorship, whatnot, and stuff. He points out and he puts a link to it to where all the money in Silicon Valley is going to. So, Johnny, this next article right here real quick that we have up, and you can see it's from Protocol. Here are the top political donors from Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft. Only one, fam, is backing Donald Trump. And it gives you the list of everybody there. All the money they've given, $16 million of it this cycle alone, has gone to who? Joe Biden and the Democrats. So when you see them on the floor pushing for censorship, you know who their daddy is. Right. You want to talk about a Congress that is compromised? The Democrats, fam? And where is AOC? Where's the squad? Where is Bernie Sanders talking up on censorship? Nowhere. Silent. And here's the money connections. Glenn Greenwald puts it out in his article, and that's something else that his editors didn't like. It was something else that they'd say, you have to take this down, because they didn't want you to see who is buttering the Democrats' bread, who is buttering Joe Biden's bread. It's the freaking Silicon Valley, and they're all for censorship, and this shit needs to go. This was it for me, fam. I am done with the Democratic Party.
You've been done with the Democratic Party.
Well, there were some candidates I was hanging on to, the Angelica Duenas, the Maria Estradas, the Shane Pitards, that I was still saying, man, I'll support them even if they are Democrats. And I still support them, and I hope they have some good victories going on. But I'm going to urge them to change their affiliation and leave that party immediately, because you are going to get no freedom of speech there. And if you take away our freedom of speech, that is full-blown fascism, fam.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these are the connections you can't deny, and this is why they don't want people to go investigating, because when you have so many big tech and all of Silicon Valley and all these extremely rich and wealthy corporations supporting Joe Biden, you have to really question why that is. And like when they're sitting there talking about how Donald Trump has given money to the 1%, absolutely, he absolutely has. But look at what these people are doing. They're also getting their money from the top 1%. They're also completely in the bed with these big techs who don't want you to be able to control yourself. They want to control you. They want to censor you, because then they can continue to push that narrative in tandem with the politicians in our country. That is a marriage that should never happen. We should not have big tech and Silicon Valley influence our government and vice versa. That's not the way it was supposed to be. That is not a government by and for the people. That is a corporatocracy. That is an oligarchy. That is the epitome of that. And that is fascism. You're right. That is absolutely fascism. The people want to fight. A lot of the left wants to only fight fascism when it comes to like racial justice, when it comes to the fascism on the streets, which is important as well.
It's very important.
It's important as well. But the censorship is another type of fascism that also directly affects impoverished people. It affects oppressed people. It affects all kinds of people, because the moment though you can't talk about what's going on in like on the streets because it affects some tech giant that doesn't want that to happen, that doesn't want the truth out, then you're screwed too. You're screwing the little guy. You're screwing everybody. So if you actually care about racial justice, if you actually care about being anti-fascist, you will absolutely not support censorship. And that's the bottom line.
The Intercept is censoring Glenn Greenwald. He started the goddamn paper. And fam, here's something we have to go to. And this is the thing that's so disturbing. When you said this yesterday too, you were like, oh, here they go again. Now they're criticizing him for going on Tucker as if he has another outlet like Chris Hayes, which we showed, where he can go on. Like Rachel Maddow's going to go, hey, Glenn, I heard you're quitting. Why don't you come on and tell a story tonight? Wolf Blitzer, Glenn, do you want to come on over here? And, I know Nancy Pelosi's going to feed them, but do you want to come over here and tell your story? No, that doesn't happen. Don Lemon doesn't call up Glenn Greenwald. Cuomo doesn't call up Glenn Greenwald and say, come on my show. It takes Tucker Carlson, who you might not agree with on everything. You might not agree on the stance on
immigration.
He
has a shit ideology.
But still, we got to call balls and strikes for every pitch that is thrown. And when it comes to censorship right now, the shit pitches are being thrown by the left in Silicon Valley in Operation Mockingbird, where the deep state and the CIA has infiltrated our media. And they're shutting down channels like this, like Jason Burmis, like Whitney Webb, like The Last American Vagabond. Ladies and gentlemen, this is some serious stuff right here, and the Democrats are behind it. They stand behind it. On Alex Koch, this guy who went after you two as well, I just wanted to show, he said, who could ever predicted this would happen tonight?
Did you put the tweet that
I do. Yours is below it, but I had to go to his thread first because there was only a couple people on your thread real quick. But if you look at this thread real quick, we'll start off and then we'll get to what you said. You'll see. It says, duh, of course we're supposed to stay in our own liberal bubbles. You know what I'm saying? Like it just goes on, fam. He'll probably be a Fox News commentator soon, they say about Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald, who released the Snowden revelations. What's that?
Glenn Greenwald.
I said Glenn Greenwald.
Oh, okay. Sounds like you're saying
the Griswolds. I'm just really, and then there's some people in there who said, Rob Lowe, if he calls out the corrupt them, so be it and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you can see this going on and on and on, where people who aren't paid are just duped into thinking no matter what Tucker Carlson says, it's bad.
Well,
only grifters go on Tucker. Look at that.
Yeah.
Why do people go on Tucker Carlson's stupid show? I mean, fam, you got to tell me about this here right now, because once again, go ahead.
I just want to bring up the tweet I did because it's
let's get it up. Fam's tweet is right here
because it pretty much explains it how I feel about this, right?
Let's bring up Fam's tweet because she goes into it.
Okay, so
you said it beautifully, by the way.
Basically, if every other media platform did not pretend that the Biden-Burisma laptop scandal did not exist, for years, the anti-imperialist left has been shut out from these platforms. Absolutely, we absolutely have. The only one that's given us a voice is Tucker Carlson. That's not our fault. It's by design. This is what they want. The establishment wants Tucker Carlson to be the only outlet that gives us a voice, because that way they can turn around and say, oh, you're supporting a white supremacist, da-da-da-da-da. And so there's a lot of the intolerance on the both left and right, but the left right now is having this whole sort of outrage culture. And I think it's a good thing when an independent journalist like Greenwald exposes an opposing audience to this rational thought and to truth. They're opening the door to change and understanding, because like Tucker said, I don't believe that many people who watch the show read the Intercept. Yeah. So here's a leftist voice going on Tucker Carlson to literally talk about the censorship and tell the people on the right, hey, this is wrong. I'm a leftist and I think this is wrong. This is a nonpartisan issue. Okay, so this has to be an issue that we all have to end up discussing, and we have to completely stand against censorship. Once you make that understanding and that bridge, you open an ability for new conversations. And once you have those conversations, you change minds. That's why this is a good thing. And like I said, these types of conversations are useful. And these pearl clutchers on the left bring up racism. Okay, I can't stand Tucker Carlson's ideology. I really, really cannot. But it's more consequential, in my opinion, to stay silent on censorship and the encroaching of our rights, which help expose the fascism and the racism. Assange is in jail for exposing racist and fascist U.S. war crimes because of this very system. So all of you that say you care about defeating white supremacy and racism, you don't really care about it if you're promoting censorship, if you're staying silent on the issue of censorship. So I don't see how Greenwald or anyone on the left going on these platforms, and they did this to Niko, they do this to everybody, are siding with white supremacy. They're actually factually educating people, educating an audience, and they're also showing that journalism should be nonpartisan. Even if everyone has an individual bias, this is what I said before. The truth is the truth, period. It doesn't matter if Glenn Greenwald says it or if Tucker Carlson says it
or Donald
whoever else says it. Exactly. The truth is the truth, period. We cannot be having the truth be dependent on who you support. Whether you support Joe Biden or Trump, the truth changes? No, that's not how it works, especially for a journalist, especially for somebody that is questioning the state, the security state, that is questioning these powers that be. That is what the point of journalism is. If you're not writing what somebody else doesn't want you to write, that is public relations. That is not journalism, period. There is no discussion on that. Everybody gets the right to choose what they believe believe and what they don't. And if you don't like it, that's fine, but they have the ability to do it. And journalism is always asking questions. Journalism is always going to independent thought. It is not reliant on whether you support a Joe Biden or a Donald Trump. And that's it.
Your good buddy Ryan Grimm, who you met before, right?
Yes.
And this is one of the reasons why we say the Intercept was going to shit. Somebody's like, well, Ryan Grimm writes for the internet. Isn't Ryan Grimm good? Like, no, that Elizabeth Warren stand is not good. I don't like his positions on a lot of things. The Intercept has been, infected with a lot of these neoliberal voices. Fam, what did Ryan Grimm say? And break it down. Go ahead.
So Ryan Grimm decided to make this about raising funds for the Intercept. So he said, hey, Greenwald is a good friend and that'll never change. But the Intercept remains committed to doing powerful adversarial journalism. Adversarial to who, Ryan? Yeah. Adversarial to who? Support our work by becoming a member. And then below...
do you want to go below
No. Yeah. It was... Aaron Matei said, are you kidding me? You're trying to fundraise over the fact that your outlet is censoring its co-founder. Like, seriously? Oh, yeah, we remain committed to adversarial journalism. Adversarial to who? To the public? To the truth? To what? Just Donald Trump now? Because you're supporting Joe Biden? Instead of, I love Glenn Greenwald, but here's my fundraising link. Please support CIA propaganda pushing journalism. Yeah. Please continue.
And we showed that the editors were trying to say that you can't say this. In fact, I find it as false for pushing these Giuliani disinformation. And you should talk about the complexity of disinformation right from the CIA's mouth. What about your friend Naomi Klein here?
Naomi Klein, too. She's somebody that I've admired. She was in Vegas when, the Bernie Sanders won, and she's great on climate. She was. Recently, a lot of stories have come out about these people trying to make money off of the environmental crisis. I think Ben Norton had a story on that. And she said, I'm grateful to Glenn for helping found such an important media outlet. The Intercept is run by editors who give us all exceptional freedom to write and speak while also telling us when we are losing the plot. Losing the plot? What the hell? It's an honor to work with them. Become a member today. So instead of admitting, you know what, maybe Glenn shouldn't have been censored, I stand with Glenn as a writer, as a contributor to the Intercept, because she has contributed multiple times. I stand with Glenn. I think he shouldn't be censored, even if I don't agree with him, even if I think we need to support Joe Biden because of climate, whatever bullshit she wants to say. But no, instead, they're literally trying to push the whole fundraising aspect of it. They're literally completely
in the midst of this and stuff.
Gaslighting him. You're losing the plot. What do you mean? This isn't a plot. This is fucking reality.
Look what Niko House put under there. This is a creepy take. Losing the plot?
Yes.
In the case is just another way of saying they order us not to damage our team or they'll damage us.
I mean, that's what it is. Like, this isn't a freaking story you're making up. This is reality. Glenn Greenwald is just trying to expose the truth. That's all he's doing.
Fam, it's not letting me go to this moderate rebels mint press thing. I don't know why.
Oh, that's what?
It's saying
that
this
is
connection
weird.
is not private.
Okay, so
it's not letting me get on it. What does this mean, Johnny?
Like this. So it looks like
this is Whitney Webb's article.
Either the internet ISP or the browser. Are you using Chrome or what are you using?
I'm using Safari.
You're using Safari. I'm using Brave on here. It's coming up that it says attackers could try to steal your information. They do this when they're trying to
suppress something,
not get you to go to a site.
Yeah, they're trying to suppress this information.
It's dangerous, but then if you go to advanced, then you can go to it. So Mint Press News is being censored as well.
Of course they are.
Whitney Webb.
Can you read the title, Pam?
It says the Intercept withheld NSA document that may have altered course of the Syrian war.
Right. Okay. So, we've been talking about the Syrian chemical attacks. I did the story with Vanessa Beeley and Eva Bartlett and how the BBC is coming after them, kind of whitewashing and pretty much lying about the white helmets and how the Western media has painted them as these heroes. So Whitney Webb back I think 2017, or I think this article's from, was talking about this and was talking about how the Intercept was completely not putting out all these documents that would have completely exposed these rebels as not being actual moderate rebels. That's the whole point of the title. So let me read a couple things here. I just have to two pictures.
ISIS jihadists and the Mujahideen.
Yeah, they're moderate rebels. That's the whole point.
Whatchamacallit, Obama compared them to farmers. and
that's why Norton and Blumenthal made that podcast.
And that's why Tulsi Gabbard called this behavior out like, wait a second over here.
Right.
And they said she's
anti-Muslim.
She has Islamophobic. She's Islamophobic.
Exactly.
For calling out jihadists. Please,
exactly. So, so the report inaccurately claims, and this is about that particular Intercept article, that the attack launched at the Saudis' behest did not result in any confirmed casualties. It states that in 2011 uprising in Syria was organic, quote, unquote, peaceful movement that led to the Syrian government to, quote, an open wage war against their own people, end quote, a narrative that has since been debunked. Of course, they were completely not peaceful people. What are you talking about? The largest oversight of all is the article's failure to mention that the U.S.'s role in funding the Free Syrian Army, as well as the CIA's well-documented role in training the FSA and pumping tons of weapons into Syria in order to foment and exacerbate the conflict in its early days. In light of the NSA's documents revelation that the U.S. had been given advance notice of the planned FSA attack on civilian targets, no less, the Washington's decision to let it proceed clearly suggests that the U.S. was involved and well aware of the Saudi directives to the FSA, but the Intercept piece chose not to mention this
crucial context.
Yeah, so, and then she later goes on to write that even more troubling than the article's failure to mention the CIA's well-documented role in backing the Free Syrian Army, now exposed as a proxy force, following orders from the Saudi royal family, is the fact that the Intercept had access to these documents for nearly 3.5 years, deciding to publish only now that the Syrian conflict is effectively over and those pushing for regime change have lost. So they could have completely exposed this way before when it could have made a difference, and they freaking didn't. Yeah. And she said if it had been published sooner, it could have dramatically changed the course of the war by exposing the true force of the, quote, moderate rebels and potentially save them thousands of lives. And it didn't happen because they completely refused to publish it, and they had exclusive publishing rights. The Intercept had exclusive publishing rights and a hold on the content of the Snowden leaks. Okay, so that document was part of that. And so the Intercept, of course, and she goes on to point, was founded after the Snowden leaks were made public, and its first hires were Glenn Greenwald and Lauren Poitras, the only journalists possessing the full Snowden cachet. These documents now belong to the Intercept founder, billionaire eBay founder.
Yeah, so I mean, it just shows you too, and Glenn Greenwald's got a lot of shit online too as well for some of the stuff that wasn't reported like this. And he's like, listen, dude, I just quit this network because I couldn't get my own work published, let alone these editors and these publishers took control of it like they do take control of everything else and just ruin it and piss on it, and that's what they did, and it was awful what they did. And let me tell you something, they were taking weapons out of Libya, moving them over to Syria, these moderate rebels, funding them to the T, arming them to the T,
painting them as literally like the white helmets for also, I mean, this is like they were literally connected to Al-Qaeda. They were Al-Qaeda type of groups, completely
ISIS
like
and whatnot.
Completely actually like not moderate rebels, completely fundamentalist groups.
Ridiculous.
And saying that made you anti-Muslim.
Guys,
and that's how they painted it.
700 watchers now. We broke 700 on the YouTube. Thank you so much. Let me read some super chat contributions from Mark Peterson. I'm in Minnesota working in my garage, and I can't believe what people believe and what is shoved down our throats. I got to vote Trump just to fight the mainstream media. How's that for ironic? It is almost ironic, but it is also somewhat true.
I mean, I can't vote for Trump, but I can't blame you for doing that. I mean, I'm not voting for either of them, but this is what's, I'm telling you, people are going to be pushed into, wait a minute, the Democrats are more dangerous now. I can't have that.
It's just ridiculous right now, because I'm sitting there saying if Joe Biden has become president, this show's off the air. Jimmy Dore is off the air. Ron Placone's off the air. I'm not saying that just in general, like I know this, but that type of freedom of speech and that type of, I mean, they're all connected, ladies and gentlemen, to the Democratic Party. Susie Wojcicki, you know what I'm saying? They're going to start shutting down people and censoring us left and right. And like I said, the Republicans, for the majority, the most of them, they said you're censoring the wrong people. You need to censor the Communist Party of China or the dictator of Iran. But there were certain people within the Republican Party who were talking about this on face value and what needs to be done, especially when it comes to content moderation, which is the tactics which they use to shut us down, silence us, and not even tell us why. There is no due process. You're not innocent until proven guilty when you have a social media company. You're guilty until you prove you're innocent, and that's something that needs to change. Mike Ungerliner, thank you for the super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. Tucker Carlson did not convince me to not support Biden. The particular honor goes to the DNC and Biden himself.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. And we also have a super chat contribution from... Holy shit, the Jimmy Dore Show. Thank you, Jimmy Dore. We love you. We love the work you're doing. Watch yourself out there.
Love you, Jimmy.
If you haven't signed up for our Rokfin or Jimmy's Rokfin or Graham's Rokfin or Ron's Rokfin or Niko's Rokfin or Kim Iversen's Rokfin or the Last American Vagabond or Tina-Desiree Berg, go on over there. Sign up for free. Advertisement free across the board. $9.99. Get your premium content from one person, from all people. You pay for one, you get all.
You sound like a socialist.
Thank you very much, Jimmy Dore. I'm a leftist libertarian, fam. So that was interesting, right? And it really, to tell you the truth, that story, so many, just a couple days out from the election, guys.
Yeah.
Just a couple days out from the election.
It's disgusting.
Wow.
That is the big story.
Crazy times.
That is the big story, you guys. People do not understand how fascistic this is and how we are fighting fascism, not only in the streets, but also on the internet, through media, through independent journalism. Now it's just basically every one of us is going to have to be an independent journalists of sorts, because guess what, any company you work for, they're going to censor you. This is why we do what we do, because if I had to go to CNN and be like, hey, no, they're not going to let you. They get directives as to what you can or cannot say. And I hate the fact that people get more angry at Glenn Greenwald going on Fox and don't give a crap when freaking Pete Buttigieg goes on Fox, and don't give a crap that people are going on CNN and Rachel Maddow, that AOC went on Rachel Maddow. Like, Rachel Maddow is a conspiracy theorist. She's been spewing Russia conspiracy game for the last 3 years. Why don't you hold them at an even keel? Just because you don't like their ideology, they're both liars. They're both conspiracy theory networks. Stop doing that. Yeah. If he can go on a platform to literally inform people, he should. Yeah.
And seeing Jack Dorsey going, well, we don't want to put a hack material up and stuff, so that's why we censored the Joe Biden situation, because the sources weren't verified. They put out this Steele dossier, they had no sources on this thing, and when the sources came back, it was some drunk alcoholic asshole in a bar making shit up about Putin that was put inside the Steele dossier that was used for Pfizer court warrants and everything else. They didn't have sources for that situation. It didn't stop them from peddling that across the board, left and right. Now, here's something that came out the other day, fam, and thank you for all those super chat contributions from everybody. We love you. Thank you, Jimmy, and whatnot. But this is something that's cute, fam. Kamala Harris just said some beautiful things about Bernie Sanders. Now maybe we should vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Big time TJ is out there saying that shit.
She said that Bernie Sanders is amazing, and I just think he's so amazing that they did everything in their power to make sure he wasn't the nominee, and subsequently he then decided to literally completely just quit and be a part of them, support them, and basically herd people back into the Democratic Party, just like AOC, just like the squad. They're all herding people back into the Democratic Party. The same people that cheated him twice, the same fucking people that rigged our elections and cheated the American people. And then I'm getting text messages from Bernie Sanders to donate money so he can go campaign for Joe fucking Biden. Are you fucking kidding me? This is like, I just can't anymore. Let's just look at this video.
I got to say something after this video. Go ahead.
And with that, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce a friend of mine, a fellow United States Senator from the state of California, one of the leading voices in the U.S. Senate, and somebody I know who is going to be a great Vice President of the United States. Please welcome Kamala Harris. Kamala, thanks so much for being with us.
Bernie, it's good to see you, and it's great to be with you. You're amazing. You know, Bernie is an extraordinary leader, and one of the, I think, marks of a great leader is someone who requires a country, especially a national leader, to require a country to look in the mirror and ask itself, is it doing everything it's capable of doing? Bernie is someone who has challenged every premise and required people who are knowledgeable people to defend the premise, which has been the basis of their opinions for a lifetime. And in many ways, when he does that, one sees that the premise is a bit flawed. Bernie has been someone who, you know, look at with that mischievous grin. Oh my God. Oh my God. He knows what he's doing, though, because the thing about you, Bernie, also is that
Okay. Bernie has been the guy that has challenged everything that you guys have literally turned around and smeared him from the moment he went off. Like, from the moment, nonstop, the media, the freaking establishment, idiot political pundits, the whole establishment politico existence in Washington D.C. literally smear this guy, call him a commie, and talk about his houses, his wife, all of these things they've done that are disgusting. They turn around and racistly attack people like Nina Turner, people like Brianna Joy Gray, all his supporters, call them residue, all this shit that they've done. And then she's like, well, Bernie points out the problems and the flaws. It's like that you refuse to solve, period. And that Bernie Sanders is here laughing with Kamala Harris and and she
even had to do the laugh with Bernie.
She is so fake. She's a freaking sociopath, I swear.
And Peter Dow put up some interesting stuff, fam, too, as well. We always talk about this. I think there's that meme out there.
God.
I'm going to join the Mexican cartel myself and then change him from the inside. I'm going to join the mafia and change it from the inside. What does Peter Dow say here, fam? And by the way, you're a Russian puppet.
Yeah, well, okay, so Peter Dow is literally like, while Bernie has been kind of done the 180 into the Democratic Party, Peter Dow has done the opposite. He said, I wish all the powerful in the world to the squad, all the power in the world to the squad and other progressive friends and acquaintances who won this year. But I spent a decade trying to change the Democratic Party from the inside, and this cycle ended my belief that it's possible.
Yes.
Particularly how Dems trashed #MeToo.
Peter Dow, motherfucker.
This is Peter Dow. I mean, this is the guy that we all argued with on Twitter before. This is like, it is insane to me, but Peter Dow is realizing. If Peter Dow can realize it,
you should
why
be able
the hell is Bernie Sanders going back into the Democratic Party, talking about
Peter
Kamala being
Dow.
your good friend? You know what, Palta? More people are afraid of Kamala Harris becoming president, actually, than Joe Biden. A lot of these people are, because she's young, she's charismatic, she's sociopathic, and she has a horrible record.
And here's the
behind
thing:
her.
if Joe Biden wins the election and the Republicans win the win the Senate, and they keep the Senate, they're going to impeach Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris will be the president, and Michelle Obama or Hillary Clinton will be the vice president. So that's what I got to say. And the fact, ladies and gentlemen, this is so funny. I'm repeating myself over here. Peter Dow has recognized the issues with. If Peter Dow is going to recognize it, then you should too. Johnny, I backed up from the mic.
So Rania Kalik posted this. Why are Democrats angrily lecturing third-party voters in solid blue states like New York and California?
I know.
It's
what's with that, fam?
Well, I agree. It's like you shouldn't be lecturing these people, period, right? But in my opinion, why are the Democrats entitled to hound and lecture voters anywhere, period? Like, let's stop putting the conditionals of, well, I'm in a blue state, so I can vote Democrat, or I can vote Green Party if I want to. No, stop the conditionals. You can vote whoever the fuck you want, wherever you want, and you shouldn't feel bad about it, and you shouldn't be guilted about it, because we have an oligarchy. You're not voting for anything different. You're basically voting for the oligarchy. And I'm not seeing anybody, not enough people in the Republican Party actually stand up against fascism of the censorship. They use their own version. They say, you can't have this from China, you can't have this from Iran, They use the same fucking shit. The only people that are actually going to be able to hold anything accountable are us and journalists like Greenwald for speaking out. That's where this change is going to come. You might have a sliver of hope if Donald Trump becomes president that there's going to be less censorship compared to what Joe Biden is, because of the connections between Biden and these big tech conglomerates. Silicon Valley.
They own them.
Yeah. So there is kind of like a sliver of hope on that end. But again, being shamed anywhere, whether you're in Florida, whether you're in California, you have the ability to vote for whoever you want.
See, the whole thing is that
about it.
It's a weird situation, fam. If they continue to do what they do to Donald Trump, where he's censored 65 times to Joe Biden 0, if Donald Trump becomes president, he's going to still go after him, not for the sake of getting rid of censorship for, to help the plebs out there, but the fact that they're attacking him on it, he'll punch back on it. So then we have some form of cover of somebody going in there saying, hey, man, we got to get rid of these tech companies, are way, way bigger. They're going after now a lot of Republicans like, Cruz and Lindsey Graham. They're going after the Democrats because the Democrats are bought off and they're bowing down to this shit. So Pete Buttigieg, before I read the soup chats, go ahead.
Yeah, so Pete Buttigieg is once
boy.
again this little
Pistol Pete,
CIA
baby.
hack. It's almost unbelievable that this has to be said, but a president, Joe Biden, will not go silent when Putin puts a bounty on our troops.
That was October 29th. Still, no sources to the story. Still, not truth whatsoever. Ladies and gentlemen, you can look at this for what it is. Do you really believe that the freaking Taliban needed Russian money incentive to kill American troops that have been there for 20 years?
And if you click on it, Johnny, below, Nicole Alexander Fisher says, the story still isn't verified, Pete. It's dangerous and reckless to make foreign policy decisions based on bad or unverified intelligence. Those who remember the Iraq War know this.
And they're still doing this full-fledged, fam.
This is what they're accusing Glenn Greenwald of doing when he's simply going to report on these documents regarding Hunter Biden, Burisma, and the computer, the laptop. Like, this is what they're accusing him of doing. He's not doing that. Pete Buttigieg and other people like him are doing that. They're completely taking something that is completely unverified and not supported by any documents and painting it as fact. Again, these people get to make facts conspiracy theories and conspiracy theories facts because they own the propaganda machine. They can literally push out any narrative they want. And if it goes unchallenged, you guys, that is doing a disservice to everybody. That is completely pushing us to fascism.
Yep, and it's a fascism that might not be in your face like you see the racial injustices out there where you're going like, this is bullshit. He's signaling the Proud Boys. He's saying Mexicans are bringing us their rapists and their drug deals.
Which
and we
is
understand
bad.
That. It's bad, but this other here, this is a more sinister, in the shadows, deep evil.
Right, it's crypto fascism.
It's crypto fashion. You can only talk to it with a Ouija board, okay? Because you can't talk to it on the surface. Let's get to these super chats. We get to the next topic. Johnny, do you have anything to say before I read these super chats about this whole situation? Johnny Mockingbird over here. He's getting bought off by the deep state. Punch right once in a while. They created this shit show. The left are now keeping it going. Bow to the goddess, Fiorella. Love, hearts, LOL from FY for the super chat contribution. Marcos Cavilla, thank you so much, Fiorella. You are incredibly intelligent, brave, honest, and beautiful. Thank you for the super chat, guys. Well, hold on a second. Yeah, I am jealous. What about me, Marcos, over here? Am I not beautiful? At least give me the beautiful. I did my hair today. Glory Jones.
He did do his hair.
We love you, Glory Jones. Thank you for the super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. Fee's the best. And Johnny, you are a real one, too. Pasta? You're all right, I guess. No
Did
cap.
she really write that?
She wrote that.
Oh my God,
no
Glory.
cap, Glory. You are the best. Heartlands Mona, thank you for the super chat contribution.
God.
It is always appreciated on the couch. Hey, guys, love your coverage about all the censorship stuff, among other topics. Fee is always on point. Admire all of you guys, what you do with the loves in the heart. Guys, if you can show some love my way to Johnny's way, we're here too. We're not, we're not statues. Fiorella has partners over here. And thank you for all these super chat contributions. Thank you for the Patreons, guys. The other day, one of the guys who was supposed to really start the show with us when we sat down and first talked is a friend of mine by the name of Brian Deutsch. And Brian Deutsch, if you're out there, he was like, man, you guys are doing good, but you guys got to be careful because you guys talk about stuff that a lot of other outlets won't talk about. When you start talking about this pedophilia, you start talking about this foreign policy, this censorship, they're going to come after you. And I told him we had a strike and we got taken down for a week. What are you going to do? And
what are we going to do? Stop talking about it? Then I'll be just as bad as those CNN spooks that completely put out their own narrative. I mean, that's not what we're going to do here.
Spooks.
Bam.
25 people on the Rokfin. We need a few more to get over there. Help us out. Rokfin, ROKFIN. Let's get to the last subject right here, fam, unless you have something else.
Yeah, no. So this last subject I wanted to get to, this really touched me with anger when Lisa Savage, who we interviewed as well, is a Green Party candidate for Maine, and she is a complete proponent of ranked choice voting. I think ranked choice voting, and I've been talking to a lot of the ranked choice voting advocates on a national level. We're working on something. We've been talking about how to get this to be on the forefront. It's part of election integrity for me, because if we have an even keel for any party, any third party, whether it's the Green Party, whether it's the MPP party, whether it's whatever party, PSL, if we don't have ranked choice voting, it makes it so much more difficult to actually even get a fair shake against the two-party system, right? Yeah. You need to have ranked choice voting. It literally creates democracy.
It also eliminates that whole, well, I have to vote for this person to stop that person. It's like, you can vote for that person number 2. You can vote for the other person number 2, whatever you want. You don't. You're not held hostage on your vote. Like so many people are like, well, I was talking to people on the plane. This is in 2018. I'm going to vote for Dianne Feinstein. I was thinking about voting for Kevin De Leon or one of the other progressives, but I can't because I don't want the Republican to get, in office there and whatnot. Right. So this is another way of eliminating that hold hostage vote. When you have ranked choice voting, you rank your choices and whatnot. So there are points for second place, and that means something. And if the one candidate doesn't get over 51%, it goes down. You eliminate people, and it goes down to that head-to-head. So it's really some way that we can get a real democracy in there. We won't be held hostage to that whole thing, because that's what the establishment does on both sides. You got to vote for this person, otherwise this person's going to get in.
Right.
So we take that mechanism away. Also, Lisa Savage in the first debate, she killed it, fam. She really performed at a high level. You've interviewed her. She knows about the topic. She's got a great opinion. She can hold her own. She's a great candidate. So what do they do again? Suppress. Of course. And the Republicans are a part of this too as well right now. You can't just eliminate them.
No, they
this
work
is the areas
together.
right here. They work together to make sure a third party does not come into play. So what was the tweet you wanted to read here?
Well, it's not just a tweet. I have a video too I want to show, but she said that they went to WMTW-TV, which is ABC affiliate local news, where they respectfully demanded that their campaign be included in the Senate debate, and that she said otherwise this debate would be illegal corporate contribution to Senator Collins and Sarah Gideon, who is running against Collins, that they should not accept. The
neolib.
The neoliberal, right. So, Johnny, there's a Facebook video, and I told you when to start it, and I just want to play a little bit of it.
Was this like a Jill Stein situation when she got arrested?
She didn't even get a chance to do that. Let's just watch the video for a little bit. It's on the thing. It's at 1:40.
This is private property for employees only and invited guests. We can't let anybody else down here.
So he's like, it's private property. You can't let anybody else in.
Safety of our employees.
This is Lisa Savage, candidate for U.S. Senate. So I'm here with a petition that has 2,600 signatures of people that wanted to see me participate in the final debate of the election. I'm Lisa Savage. My name's on the ballot. I'm an independent candidate. I was the first name on the ballot, actually. I'm not sure what WMTW is doing when they exclude me and the other independent from the final debate. I'm wondering if the candidates are afraid to face me in the debate again. I've been in the first 4 debates. I think I played by the rules and did okay. Can you explain why I can't be allowed into the debate tonight?
No, I can't explain it because I've just been told not to admit anybody to the property other than employees or other invited guests.
So do you agree with that decision?
I'm an employee of the station, and I do as I'm told to do as an employee of the station.
And is it really the Hearst Corporation that told WNTW to do this?
I really don't know. I don't operate at those levels of the station.
Okay. And your name is?
My name is Greg Rohr.
Greg Rohr.
And I'm
Greg?
the Director of Engineering.
Okay. And your name, sir? You don't have a name, or you don't want to give me your name?
He is here as part of the security detail.
He's here as part of the security detail. Okay. Well, I'm going to hand this over to you then, Greg.
I can't accept that. I'm going to have to find out if somebody from inside wants to accept that. I'm really not here to represent the editorial side of our station, other than to make sure that the driveway stays clear for, like I said, employees or invited guests.
So you're even scared to take my petition. I assure you there's nothing dangerous about it. It's a bunch of papers with a bunch of names and addresses on it.
Let me see if I can get a representative from the station to come out here.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't have the authority to be able to handle this.
Right. Do you want more?
Yeah, no, she eventually just walks out, and it's sad because
it's fascism, fam.
It is fascism.
Let's silence other voices out there.
Yeah.
She held her own in the other debate. She was the first on the ballot. She's got a lot of support.
She got 2,600 signatures.
Yes.
that she got everything. She did everything right. She didn't. She. And I just want to rectify. I think I said she was a Green Party candidate. She's an independent candidate.
Yes.
She has been a Green before, but she's an independent candidate running against Susan Collins and Gideon. But they have ranked choice voting in Maine, so there are still Democrats saying that ranked choice voting isn't a thing in Maine, and they're doing it because they're saying they want people to vote for Gideon because they're afraid if people vote for Lisa Savage, then Susan Collins wins, and that's bullshit because they have ranked choice voting, so there's no fucking way that can happen. And it really broke my heart to see her go there with her papers and with all these people that were behind her that you'd see later in the video, and they're like, hey, we're here, and she did an interview later.
They're doing it in your face. It's fascism in your face now, ladies and gentlemen. They're not even hiding it now. They're not even saying, okay, well, it was a situation. They're just saying, no, you can't come on stage with us. You can't speak. Your voice can't be heard. We're going to shut you out because you're a threat to our control.
Yeah, and it just irked the hell out of me because she literally did everything right, and she should be allowed to debate. Yeah. And they have ranked choice voting in Maine, and she's like hurting absolutely nobody by doing that, and she should have more support. And what really irritates the hell out of me is that a lot of these people, a lot of these progressives, are supporting Democratic candidates that are to go back into the Democratic Party, and I don't hear them support people like Lisa Savage. Why the fuck aren't you supporting people like Lisa Savage, who would literally change the face of this country by being one of the independents winning through ranked choice voting in Maine? Why aren't you really caring that there's somebody here that has the potential to win now? This is why they're keeping her out of the debates, because they don't want the American people to hear what an actually good candidate sounds like. Yeah. And that is what irritates me. Put your money where your mouth is and start supporting people outside the Democratic Party.
Put it there, because all your ideas, you progressives, when it comes to a Green New Deal, Medicare for all, whatever it is, ending censorship and open free internet, it comes from third parties. Yeah. It comes from people like Lisa Savage and whatnot. You've seen a review with her. She's been on Jimmy Dore. She's been on a bunch of other shows. This is a threat. They're supporting your ideas, and this is a threat to our democracy by way of fascism, by shutting people out, by silencing people. Only the state and the CIA and the corporations and the establishment get a voice. That is fascism, ladies and gentlemen. And if you support this Democratic Party, you're supporting fascism. You want to go against and not support fascism? Support people like Jesse Ventura if he's a write-in. Viva la Riva today, baby. Let's do this. Gloria la Riva. Support your ideology. Support your ideas. Support freedom and free speech. Vote against fascism. Tell the Democratic Party once and for all, you're not going to play their games.
Absolutely.
Laura St. James says, all for you, Pasta and Johnny. We got some love from Laura St. James. Thank you so much. Pleb, thank you for the super chat contribution. Always appreciate it on the couch. Poor Pasta. Here's some love for you with a generous super chat contribution. Thank you, Pleb. That's so nice. Trey Wright, I love you, Fiorella and Pasta. Thank you for speaking the truth and fighting for what's right. You both inspire me greatly. Trey, don't forget about Johnny Sue on the ones and twos. He makes us look pretty and gets all this stuff together. He's a part of the team. You might not hear it. Oh, there, Johnny Dolphin there. Fee, keep your head up. One day you'll be as pretty as Johnny and Pasta, says Jonathan Nieves. Thank you, Jonathan. I don't know if she'll ever be as pretty as this. Gloria Jones says, who's the white man co-hosting with the amazing, wonderful Majorca siblings? He seems okay. Glory, why you gotta take shots at my inner chi over here and stuff? This is Pasta Jardula here. I'm 61% Italian, fam. And I am a little Eastern European and Russian.
He's a Russian.
Russian. Angel Calero, thank you for the super chat contribution. Always appreciate it on the couch. I voted for Gloria La Riva.
Yay.
Awesome. Left blank all the other Republican and Democratic candidates, and I'm going to do the same thing. Not voting for any of those two ever again. Florida against all judges too. Angel Calero.
Wow.
Great choice as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, man, there's some Democrats right now. I'm so sorry. If I had a chance to vote for them, if Angelica Duenas was on my ballot, I'd vote for her. Yeah. Maria Estrada was on my ballot, I'd vote for her. But they're not real Democrats.
Yeah, they're not.
They're really not real Democrats.
It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
I think, and Shahid Buttar, too, as well. That's another thing, too, as well. I think, fam, it's listen. Some of those people were Greens before. They're running as Democrats. They did it strategic, but I don't think it's a strategic move in any way, shape, or form to now capitulate to this party. That's going to make you always go against your values. Yep. It's going to make you stand behind fascism and censorship. That's going to make you be a pro-imperialist and stuff, because that's the way they get their pro-imperialist ways going. Oh, Modi's so evil, we can invade them. Oh my God, what's going on? Putin's so awful, we can put our bombs through NATO on the border. Oh my God, Xi Jinping in China. Awful and stuff. Look what they're doing to the Uyghurs. We can saber rattle with them. You know what I'm saying? We can do that in Iran because friends with Putin, and all like the situation with Azerbaijan now, and all this situation is like you start picking sides because you say the other person's a racist, a fascist, whatnot, and you those Western war ways,
which is
those
more
imperialism,
racist and fascist,
which is the most racist thing, right?
And Putin and Pete Buttigieg just try to say that Joe Biden is going to stop Putin. Like we know Joe Biden is going to foment war with Russia already, right off the bat.
And Pete Buttigieg will have a big part to say when it comes to foreign policy in a Joe Biden administration. That's why Barack called him on the phone. Sneaky Pete, it's Barack here. You can call me Barry. I need you to drop out and support Joe Biden. And I'll tell you what, I'll get him to let you be part of the Secretary of Defense, and you can bomb whoever you want. What do you say about that, Pete? You can put your name on it. And I'm going to call Amy after this and tell her she'll get a job too, even though she's crazy. Y'all got to support Joe now, so do it.
Literally.
Yeah, they made that phone call. That was a good Barack Obama.
That was a good Barack Obama.
All right, Johnny, guys. What else do we got for us to close out this show, Johnny? Johnny, be good. Give us Johnny something good.
I have something.
All right, here's what Johnny's got.
World premiere.
The world premiere.
The world premiere, ladies and gentlemen.
World premiere.
Do your voice.
World premiere. Here's Jonny Tsunami, the editor, engineer, and third partner of the Convo Couch, producing something, well, just for your eyes. Take a look.
There you go.
La, 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 la.
Fam, what's up?
What's up? I'm trying to figure out how to say my lines, fam.
What do you mean?
What do I mean? I mean, should I deliver my lines all powerful and energetic like I normally do? Or should I kind of kick it back a notch and be a little bit more professional? Because, fam, this is the first general election we will be covering.
Fam, you're so extra. You always have to overcomplicate everything.
Well, I'm sorry. Do you have any better suggestions?
Yeah. Just take a deep breath, look into the camera, and... Hey, everybody. Come join the Convo Couch on November 3rd and 4th for our exclusive Election Day coverage. We will be bringing you up-to-date election analysis and results. Plus, we'll be having lots of guests from all over the country come on in as well. You don't have to watch mainstream media. See? How was that, fam?
I mean, you didn't mention the fact that we're going to be on most of our other platforms and the fact that we'll be streaming all day and night. But aside from that, pretty good.
Fam, that was great. Next shot, please.
Hey.
So you got it right there, fam. There you go. This promo, guys, we're going to put this up. You can go out and share this promo. You don't have to watch the mainstream media.
You don't.
You can watch us on Election Day and the day after, November 3rd, this Tuesday, November 4th, this Wednesday. We're talking to people from all around the states. We're going to talk to Shahid Buttar, Jen Perlman. We got a bunch of other cool people. Dick Medhurst will be on. I got some independent media people who are going to talk. I reached out to Mark Slabo to see if he can come on one day. We're going to be talking to Dario Hunter, who's also running that day as well. He'll be there as well. I gave an invitation to all the boys, Ron, Jim, Graham. Hopefully they'll join on in. We just got a jam-packed, fun-filled day.
Slow news day, too.
Slow news day, Action for Assange people, Jason Burmis. All the crew will be available those 2 days, so we're going to have a great time. You don't have to watch the mainstream media. Johnny Sue will be engineering the whole thing. We have a new location for this. We've brought out all the bells and whistles. It's going to be a great show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
So you don't have to watch the elections, and hopefully YouTube won't take us down. We'll try to stay within the parameters. But, fam, they said they're only listening to trustworthy, reliable news sources like the AP.
Which translates to propaganda.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Who knows? We might get shut down in the process of trying to do this, you guys. But
they are trying to censor this shit, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to election, they don't want anybody putting out any other news of anything that's going on. In fact, we received a warning for our Super Tuesday just because we were showing the lines in the polls and whatnot. We think, once again, it's that content moderation where Senator Jim Thune said we need to start putting more transparency when it comes to this content moderation. So you have to tell these people why you're shutting them down and why you're silencing them. So once again, we probably won't know if they do something, but we're going to give it a shot. We planned a great show. We want to be the source that you go to when it comes to the debates, when it comes to election days. So that's why we go full-fledged with this thing. We're working really hard on it, and hopefully we can deliver an awesome show to you guys and give you the results you need without listening to Chris Hayes or Steve Kornacki or Rachel Maddow or Wolf Blitzer or Cuomo or any of those other idiots. Or if you're over on Fox, you don't have to listen to them. You don't have to watch the mainstream media. You watch us.
Exactly.
Okay. Another super chat contribution came in. Okay, we actually have one right-wing party, so I guess you're always punching right. Gorgeous George. I mean, pasta. I don't know what that means, FY. But thank you so much for that super chat contribution. It's always appreciated.
Yeah, because I think somebody was like, oh, punch right for a second or something. Yeah, I mean, they're all one big party. The reason I don't spend my time talking about how horrible Trump is because you have MSNBC, CNN, everybody else, TYT doing it for you when it's really obvious. I know who Trump is. I know where the Republicans stand. I know how I have to combat them. I can't combat them, though, because the Democratic Party is always putting all these hurdles in me, so I can't do that. And they're working with them in tandem to literally take away rights from people. So right now, the real war is against censorship, and the real war is actually against imperialism. That's what's going on right now. There's the class war too as well included in all of that. But that's really where the line is. We have one giant oligarchy. So when I'm criticizing the Democratic Party, I'm criticizing the Democratic establishment that is enabling the Republican Party as well.
Yeah. The fight is also against the deep state and the intelligence community who's propagating all this stuff and who's infested our social media, who's infested our journalism, who's infested our media, and it's really a shame, so we need to get a hold of it. There's almost 30 people on the Rokfin today. That is awesome. We needed one more. We had 29. That's great. Listen, somebody just put up here, yep, Karen, YouTube is killing Convo Couch for a week. Did it for me. Mostly every indie media I followed is on YouTube is right here on Rokfin anyways. So yes, it's very important to go over to the Rokfin, because if YouTube does try to do stuff, if they have communication, I'm thinking that they're going to say we have communication issues. We're going to have platform issues. Sorry, but we wouldn't let you stream. Something's wrong. We're doing construction, whatnot. So they're going to try to do some really shady shit. If you listen to Susan Wojcicki, when she talked to CNN the other day, it's scary what they're going to do. They have their own team out there scouting, looking to shut voices like us down. So go over to this Rokfin, sign up for free, help us out over here. It does help out, but I want to thank you all. We had over 700 people listening today, and that was great. Donny Known, where you been? Rokfin on election? Yes, we are. We will be on Rokfin, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. Will be on all our channels, but like we said, we don't know what they're going to do, so we need you to make sure that you're signed up for that Rokfin so we have a backup. Okay?
All right, guys, so this was a really long show, so thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us.
Being here
today.
and joining us.
So let's get out of here. Remember, we'll see you Tuesday. We'll probably be on Monday, right, Johnny?
We're going to be live streaming later.
Later on today, Gloria La Riva. Johnny will be Johnny live stream. Johnny will be live streaming. He'll get it all there, all the bells and whistles. We're going to go meet our candidate for president, Gloria La Riva. So for Pasta Jardula,
Fee,
Johnny Samosa on those ones and twos.
Convo out.
We love you, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Here's a piece.